breakdown is okay.
It's about showing the progress, man. It's showing that the teams are up something, right?
Right, but think about it incrementally for every story. When you demo it the next time, there's not absolutely nothing to say. All you're saying is, and even for the stakeholders when
So
they
we
see
don't have
this,
to say much. We
yeah,
just will say that, hey, this sprint we finished the story, and by the way, right now it's a real transaction data and all that stuff.
yeah, man, sure. So if you guys feel strongly about it, let's demo it. I just want to say that I'm not in agreement with it.
I understand that. There are some pluses and minuses, but it's just about like showing what the team has done.
Because essentially we are creating a fake perception that we have completed something when we haven't completed nothing.
And let's make sure we not create this perception. Let's make sure we clearly state that this is a story in progress. We're still working on it, but this is what we achieved so far.
Okay, sure. If you guys feel strongly about it, go for it.
What do you think, Stacey?
Speak from your heart. I mean, I understand what Mikola is saying because the perception is even after the first sprint, I was attacked by a manager saying, imagine this is all the work you've done, log in. So the perception is that we're not really doing anything, this massive lab. So I get what Mikola is saying, but I also understand what Geet is saying. The purpose of each demo is to produce a shippable product, and it's disingenuous if we show. But as Nicola said, if we explain, if we are explicit,
That's the purpose of each accepted story. After
yeah.
each accepted story, there should be a shippable product. Doesn't mean after each demo. So when the story is accepted, we'll say, yeah, this is a shippable product. But for these stories, we will honestly, clearly say that these stories are not accepted
So
yet.
guys,
They are
one thing you realize is on any agile project, any agile lab, in any demo that you do, you only talk about and demo stories that have been accepted and complete. You never talk about and never demo incomplete stories because going forward that might change, things might change. So wasting the time of all of these stakeholders with things that are not complete doesn't make any sense.
So let's not waste much time. Let's just show
Yeah,
and
so
say that that's what we've been working on. That's what we've achieved so far, and that's what's pending.
still show it with the dummy data.
I think we should show whatever the team has achieved. Yeah, yeah. Why not?
So just make a call based on what you think you need to do.
But it's not real. It's the team. It's not just me in this regard.
So do you guys feel you'll be done making those changes? Because Jace says he's done from his end.
You said you finished changing all the things.
And the story not going to be accepted in any case, guys. What are we talking about? We won't be able to do QA in 15
You're right,
minutes.
it won't be accepted, but at least it'll have actual data points for the
So there is not much difference, right? Because all the arguments I'm hearing so far about stories being accepted and stories not being accepted, there is no way the story going to get accepted. We don't want to we don't want to rush QA just
Right.
because we did
Right.
the demo. We want to
Right.
make sure we properly test each
Okay.
piece of
That's a good
functionality.
point then we shouldn't
Okay.
even demo the story because according to Mikola it won't be accepted in the sprint. The whole assumption we made it today morning was it will be
For
accepted
amount?
by whatever
Yeah.
team, yeah. But if it's not getting accepted then one is you shouldn't even mention it.
Mention it.
It's not accepted.
And I disagree with that. I think we should show the progress. We should say
two, two. Audio. Audio check. 1, 2.
Thanks, Nicola.
Sure. This is Dennis's What's Up. Victor, it doesn't matter how many people are here.
Thank you. I
Yeah.
needed that.
Say I must sit down at the front.
Yeah, man, come take up the space.
That person speaking on the mic can stand at this side, please.
Can stand.
Yeah.
Okay, alright, fine.
She would be in the perfect frame.
Okay, great.
I always get that meeting.
There's so many seats in the back.
There's so many seats in the back. Just want the headshot of the persons in the front.
Okay, okay.
Oh, right here. Thanks for coming. Awesome. So I fill up the front row.
Yes. No, not for you to keep. Not to keep.
You can also take whatever you want from that table.
No.
Everybody.
Wait, no. Wait.
Give me the review, man.
Yeah, you should start with like the TV series previously in top 3 and then the 5 minutes of what happened in the last episode.
Good idea. I'll think about it for the next one.
So how are we going to tie in what happened today to what happened
Wait, no, Simone. You're in a different environment.
Every Tuesday must do a recap.
Yeah. Why not?
So you promise to what we have.
Yeah, it's like the TV novellas. There you go. So you have to do the previous ones. So not only the last one.
It seems like.
Somebody's gonna help me with my Jace? Alright, me never go through this with you, but I'll just look on you. Here? And chain. Okay.
Yeah, man, this side? Oh, okay. I want to go over there.
I'll just go over there.
Yes, that's your better side.
Ready? Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for being on time. For those who don't know me, my name is Stacey Ann Hessen. I am the product owner for the mobile app. Now, coming out of the last review, we had some genuine concerns about our deck. Our deck colors, right? We were told that we looked like the insurance company that is now a commercial bank. So, being agile, we know that change is inevitable. So, being an agile team, we reassessed and we revamped our deck to be more reflective of the brand. Hence, next. Yeah, right. Now, also coming out of the last review, persons they wanted to know what was our inspiration, what customers were we focusing on in terms of what features we will be highlighting for each MTP. Now, if you look behind me, you'll see some pictures. No, they're not decoration, they're actually useful tools. So prior to Sprint Zero, what we would have done is we literally went on the road and did surveys with our customers and also with our stakeholders. And what these are known as our personas, which is a realistic representation of our key audience. And we use them as a guide for all the decisions that we make as it relates to features. The other concern was the design. Why is it so simple? Why is it not big and fancy? Now, in MTP 1, the focus is on functionality, because what we want is to ensure that the app does what it's supposed to. So yes, in the first MTP, we'll focus on how it works, and this is what we want feedback on the functionality. In MTP 2, what we will do is start to polish the features, add the nice to haves. Then in MTP 3 and 4, then we'll take it to another level. So we don't want it to focus on the design just yet, because we're agile, it will change. We want all the reviews to be on the functionality. This is actually what our customer said. Fanciness means nothing if the system pop down mountain. Just make sure it work, and it's simple. No, next. The next aspect was the technical stories. A lot of persons that are concerned as to why are we featuring these technical stories? We don't understand what you're talking about. How does it relate? We just want to see functional. So Orain Edwards, which is one of our software developers, will explain as to why we do this.
Okay, wow. That was unexpected. Hello, everyone. So as Stacy said, a lot of people have concerned about why we're actually demoing technical stories. So if you turn your attention to this board right here, we're actually building the mobile app in 3 separate layers. And it's something that's unseen to many people, who, especially those who are non-technical. We have a core API layer, which is everything you see below here, a mobile API layer, and the mobile apps. So you actually see the screen, on the screen, this part. But looking further beyond, there's a whole lot that actually goes into making that happen. So in a typical feature, we start at the core, and we build out some small features that integrate tightly with IT. For example, customer verification, user authentication, savings transactions, and as you can see, it's a whole lot. We would then funnel that up into our mobile API and wrap it in a way that our apps can use it. And then our lovely app developers get to present it in a nice, user-friendly way. The other thing to note is that these core API services are not just Lab 3 specific. These are things that can have a wide variety of usage throughout IT and throughout the other labs. So for anyone in here who may be placed in a lab in the future, these core APIs are going to help you tremendously and make your jobs a whole lot easier. So when you see all of these developers in here and you say, oh wow, you have a whole lot of developers, how come we're only getting, one small feature per week? It's important to notice that we're doing a ton of work on the back end to get this stuff done. And a lot of these core services are brand new to the bank. So we're doing a whole lot to make this all come together.
Thank you. So now that we've cleared all that up, we move on to, we move on to the Sprint 2 stories. So these are the stories that we had last week, which is the error handling for login. We did a backend story for the top 10 list, which is a functional story that you'll see today, and also filtering the accounts enabled for web banking. Next. Now, out of Sprint 2, what customers liked, or what you guys liked, was the display, it was clear. They liked that the UI was nice in terms of the listing, and a few persons agreed with us focusing just on the functionality first. Concerns that we had was the option to filter the accounts by type, the user able to know which credentials is incorrect is a no-no. We're actually going to address that for upcoming sprints. And Orain just explained why we do technical demos. Now for Sprint 3, we have our welcome page. And this is the first page you'll see. So what I'll do is go through the stories that we're going to do, and then afterwards, they will demo. So we have the welcome page, which is the first thing that the customer will see after launching the app. Next one. Then we have show password, which is a secured viewing of the password. The backend story, which is building core bank APIs to retrieve the savings and checking account balance, and seeing the list of top 10 transactions. So we'll start off with the welcome page, and Chad will be demonstrating that. Also one of our developers.
Greetings. And I think just to add to what Orion had mentioned about the amount of work that's going in as well, we also invest a significant amount of time in testing manual and unit and a variety of other testing methodologies, just to ensure that we're not only building the right thing, but building it the right way. So that also kind of adds to the amount of features that are being delivered per week or API stories. So here we're going to go into the app. And as you see, this week we completed this lovely splash screen. And at the moment, you're only seeing the login button. But in future sprints, we'll be adding other buttons such as RSA and sign up, etc. But being Agile, we'll have login at the moment. So I'm going to log in. And here, you guys should be familiar with this screen, but you should notice one difference here with the show password icon here. And this kind of operates similar to a checkbox versus something that you'd press down and hold. So you press it once, and this kind of affords the user the ability to see that, you know, they're entering the right thing, because, and this is very key, because you're only allowed 3 attempts. So you want to ensure that you're entering the right thing and verify that. So here we're entering the password. This is the correct password, by the way. So we're going to try logging in with the correct password. Shown. And as I don't know if you saw it, I was kind of quick, but when you do click login, it does hide the password again and doesn't keep it shown. Should you have a slow internet connection, you don't want that on the screen while it's loading. So scroll, you guys should be familiar with this page as well, showing the different accounts associated with Patrick. We don't know which Patrick this is. So I'm going to click on one account, and I'll hand over to Jace.
Hey everybody, good afternoon. So today I'll be demoing the top 10 transactions from accounts, any account. Pick one, choose one. So he clicked on, which account did he click on? Savings. So what we're displaying in, speaking account, savings. And so we'll see the date, and under each date we have grouped the transactions. So if you did 20 transactions, or well, like 2 transactions, 3 transactions that date, it would group them under that one date. If it's only one, it will show the one. What's also shown is the description of the transaction itself, and as well as the amount that was done in that transaction. So that's pretty much that for that. If you go back,
Are those clickable?
no, they're not clickable right now. So if you scroll back up, as I said, it works for all accounts. So if you click on loan, you'll also see all the transactions for your loans. So the description as well as the amount. Yeah, that's it. No, not yet. So what we have done this week is just to show the transaction listed. Right, so for the next sprint.
Could you just repeat your question? Because it's being streamed, we just want to ensure that the viewers are able to hear the question.
I was just asking if it will show a running balance on the type of account, the account that the customer selects. So if it's a savings account, will it give the running balance on the savings account?
Will we? For our next sprint, right?
Oh, yes, that is actually a feature that we are doing, but it will be taken up in the next sprint.
Right. Yeah, and for the next sprint, we'll also do the account balance breakdown. Right, so this is just transactions for now. All right.
It's important to note as well that it's the first time that the bank is building a service to offer transaction history. So for any other department that would like to see a history of transactions in this way, you can leverage this API.
All right.
Can you go back to the transaction?
Sure. That's great. Sure.
Is there a limit to the number of transactions shown per date?
No.
No.
Mm. So right now we're just returning 10 from the API call.
Per day though?
Is
Or
it per
10
day?
in 10 overall?
No, just 10 in all. Right.
Okay, okay, all right.
Sure. Any other questions? You can keep looking. You might find something.
Please remember you have some post-its and markers in your hand. Right. All your feedback, please note on the post-its.
Just following up based on what he said, it's 10 per landing page, right?
When you click on the account?
When you click on the savings account,
right,
you'll
so
only
currently
see
it's
10, 10 entries.
Right.
So if I want to view more than 10, because I do more than 10 transactions in a day.
So that will be in an upcoming sprint.
So we will be doing pagination, but pagination will be in next MTP. Pagination is where you're able to sort and to see more transactions than the 10, right? But for now, it's just 10.
Pagination. Yes. And handing over to Jody.
Hello, everybody.
Jody. Where is it?
Okay, so this, so the backend developers tend to work on building APIs for the front-end users to use in the upcoming sprint. So this week we worked on building APIs to get information for the account details page. This is the design for the account details page that will be worked on next week. This will have the type of account, the account number, the different balances for that account, and then the list of transactions beneath the balances. So now I can show you the API. So the front end will send to us the account number and the amount of transactions that should be shown from this URL. And then we will do a call to the two core APIs that were built. So we built a core API to connect to the bank's systems to pull transaction information, and then another one to pull the balances. The mobile API calls these two endpoints and displays information sends the information to the mobile front end in the format that it's expecting it. Also, this balance information can be leveraged if any other lab or system in the bank wants to use it. So, yeah. Any questions?
Sorry, I didn't get what the APIs did.
Okay, so there are two core APIs that were developed. There is one that pulls a list of transactions. So that's what you saw that Jace used just now. So it will return the ID, the description, the type, the amount, and the date that the transaction was done. And there's another API that was developed that will return all the balances for the account. So the unclear balance, the account balance, lien balance, available balance for that specific account. And then the mobile API does a call and concatenates all this information so that the mobile API the mobile front end just does one call to retrieve this information.
Will we be putting together like a library or a catalog of these APIs so that other labs can leverage them, can see what you guys have created? Because Lab 3 is the only lab that has a back-end component, so that they can be visible to the other labs, so that we can say, okay, if there's a particular functionality that I need to develop, I can look to see if there's an API that is all done.
So could you repeat your question so that the persons who are watching can hear?
From the top. I'm suggesting that we create some kind of catalog for these APIs, because Lab 3 is the only lab that has a does backend development. So that way the other labs will be able to go in and see what is there, what they do, and how, I mean, if it will provide any value to them. And another question, are these QA'd outside or inside the lab?
So the core endpoints will have to, since they're IT services, they'll have to go through IT's QA system to go into production.
Okay, all right.
So they will be cataloged with IT. So there will be
Confluence.
right. So there's also documentation for the APIs in Confluence. So any other lab can go in and see the documentation for them.
I have a few APIs that I can suggest you guys.
Okay.
More work.
Ask the question.
All right, so basically, based on what we're seeing, these are Finacle core related APIs that you've built, right? But for mobile, we're also looking at credit cards. Okay, so my question is, seeing that we are PCI compliant, what will be displayed on the mobile app when you go credit card? Because we won't be able to display the full card numbers.
Okay, so we're not looking at credit cards at the moment. I'm not quite sure.
No, okay, so I can address that. So credit card will be done at the same time that we do iOS. So whatever is compliance, PCI compliance, that's MTP4. That's sometime next year. It's going to be the same, right? Yes, which is the number will be. So it's the same. So what? Right.
Any other questions?
Let's just continue with the demo, and we can leave the questions. We have a section for questions. And what was the other one? Yeah, next. So, looking at our burn-up chart. So last week I would have explained story points and what accounts for a story point. So as you can see, our velocity, we're moving very well. So we would have done, so the last time we reported 6, what had happened is in terms of how we reported the points the last time, there was some adjustment in Jira. So this is how it actually reflects in Jira. And Jira is a tool that we use to track the stories that we do. And now we are on track to 24. I mean, even if you understand nothing that I am saying, this chart looks like we're really doing some work. So I really want... So 58. So what we... All right, so in terms of the scope for MTP1, the story points, which is an accumulation of the size of the story. And the size of the story is determined by the complexity of it and any unknown, right? So for MTP1, we had predicted 60, but some nice to haves, we deprioritized, and now we're down to 58. So as you can tell, our velocity, we are...
So she's asking why is it at 58 all the way through sprint 6? That's what we're looking towards.
No, so we were at 60, right? This. Right. So we deprioritized for this sprint. So we're now at 58. So based on the trajectory, we would have therefore about...
As at sprint 5, you could have reached 58.
Right, so we have 34 story points to 58. So,
Okay.
Right.
Very well done.
How many story points for changing the color of the presentation away from the Sagicor colors?
That's a joke, right? What? How many story points to change the color? About half of a point. No, we had genuine concerns about the colors. I got emails, I got calls. Right, so just leave it. Ensure that you make a note of it on your post-its in the feedback. So that's it. In terms of what's next on Sprint 4, Jody would have mentioned the back-end story for this, so you'll see the front-end story. I know that everybody likes front instead of back. That came out wrong. That was, no. Prefers the front-end story, oh Lord. Validation of credentials, this is where we spoke about users able to identify whether username is incorrect or password is incorrect. We'll be correcting that. And also to view the loan details. Next. This is the team. And we're a big team. And that's it. Any questions?
These was all your concerns. And your anything that we need to improve and your likes on the board. Thank you for coming though.
Did I just say that? Nobody prefer front?
It's fine, it's fine.
Oh my God, I could have killed myself.
Is it enough?